Divorce happens. In fact, it happens to almost 50% of first marriages. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Divorce Happens, a podcast to educate, inspire, support, and yes, make you laugh through divorce and beyond so that you can start fresh on the next phase of your journey. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh.
You get divorced. You get divorced.
Getting divorced?
I'm getting a divorce.
You're getting a divorce.
Because she's getting a divorce.
So what if I get divorced?
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Divorce Happens, the show where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, and a little bit of laughter because as we know, divorce happens and then you start fresh. And we're here with one of our Fresh Starts experts, Taylor Beck. Taylor, can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Olivia. So I am a certified ADR divorce coach and intuitive guide. So I work with women primarily, powering them through their pivots.
Amazing. Okay, so one of the questions I get a lot from people is, how can I move forward, right? I am going through this time. I feel very stuck. And that's something that's very much at the foundation of our ethos here at Fresh Starts, literally Fresh Start, right? And how can we, I guess, use the lessons that we had from our past to really start one foot in front of another, Taylor, and moving forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of my clients and women that I work with are kind of looking at it in a huge, hard picture that seems very overwhelming. You know, when you're at the start of divorce or getting into the process, even making that initial decision, do I stay, do I go? It's just very stressful. So like you said, one foot in front of the other. I think the most important thing to keep in mind is number one, the past does not define the future. And even though it can feel really daunting in the moment to know that everything is changing one day at a time. This goes for healing because healing is not linear. You know, one day you can feel over the moon and the next you can feel completely depressed, and that's normal and that's okay. It does not dictate the success that you will feel down the line at all. Similar to this relationship, this marriage ending does not dictate how good things can get for you. So one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. I think that is the most important thing I try to get everybody to refocus on is what can you do even in the next, hour that feels doable, plausible to start moving forward, that feels like a positive impact towards your future versus thinking, how can I do this? Because it is too hard to kind of take in at once. It's important to break it down into smaller, actionable steps. Even if you're having a hard day, okay, what's one thing you can do to help yourself feel better? Is that a support system? Is that getting your favorite takeout meal, reading your comfort book, or watching your comfort movie? Even the small things add up. And that's what I like to start with everybody on is you have to start somewhere to get to the bigger picture, the other side.
Yeah, because I hear from a lot of people, women, that they feel so stuck, right? That's the word that keeps coming up, stuck. So if you are going through this like post-divorce or even during divorce process and you're feeling so stuck, what is like something you would recommend just like when you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I feel so stuck? What could you do to start kind of getting yourself out of that mindset?
I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, so I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but move your body. It's so hard, and I know we all can make excuses, myself included, but there truly is science behind the study of just taking that step of getting out of bed, getting sunlight. What can you do to actually move your body? And there's so much within that as well for somatic, that we store so much in our body, whether that's trauma, experiences, and to get up, get out of bed movement. Like it can be so hard when you're in the thick of it to just want to tune out everything, have blackout curtains and stay in bed all day. And I also try really hard to stay away from toxic positivity. So it's okay to have those days too. But the stuck feeling, it, it takes that quick, ripping off the Band-Aid, getting sunlight, taking a quick walk around your neighborhood if possible. Anything you can do to move your body is a very quick scientific way to start getting unstuck.
Yeah, and for me as an example, it was making my bed, right? Like it was just I knew if I just woke up and made my bed, which is I couldn't make my bed during my marriage cuz like it was with the kids were there and it was crazy. And then, once he left, I had the autonomy over my bedroom, right? And so I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to get up." And even now, 6 years out, right? When I get up in the morning and I feel stuck about life, whatever it is, I know if I can make my bed, it's almost like a ritual, right? It's like a spiritual thing. I'm like, well, okay, maybe I'm not doing my yoga or my manifestations or all my other things, but I am making my bed. And so I come back to that every day. Because you're not talking about like going out and like working out at the gym. You're literally just talking about
No,
getting out of bed. Yeah.
truly. I mean, and that could be the correlation, the comparison can still be there, right? There's studies that say, well, if you put on the outfit, you're more likely to go to the gym, right? Because you've taken that first step. Now I'm guilty of putting on the outfit and not going to gym, and that's okay too.
Mhm.
But I think there is an honor in taking that first step. Like you said, like getting out of bed, making your bed. There really are studies, so many of them, that talk about the importance of a morning routine, of doing those habits because it impacts the rest of your day.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you work with people in this mindset and how do you work with people? Where do you work with people? If somebody's listening to this and they're like, "Oh, this is the help I've been looking for." How can people get in touch with you? All the things.
Yeah. So I primarily do just virtual one-on-one consultations. I have, package options that range from kind of a one-time breakthrough session if somebody doesn't really know even where they want to start, they just want some immediate help. And then I also do it containers. So I have a 3-month container and a 6-month container, all one-on-one with, support in the interim as well. I have a Facebook community also called the Reclaimed You Collective. So that is free. Only women are allowed in this community. And it's just kind of a space, tips, tricks. I have free resources as well on my website. It's reviveandrisecoaching.com. And then my email is just Taylor at Revive and Rise Coaching also. But how I typically work with individuals with the one on one is truly catered to their experience, to what works for them. A lot of people have no support, right? They don't have family near, they don't have a great group of friends. Um, so truly starting from scratch with building that for them, starting to kind of be that pillar and building, like you said, what worked for you is making your bed. What works for another one of my clients truly might be something completely off the wall. Maybe that is a song they need to hear first thing. But building
Mhm.
those routines that are doable, feasible, and starting through everything that they are going through. Like I said, whether it is they are in the beginning process of deciding whether they want to stay or go, they are in the middle of it and coming to me just for clarity as they navigate through it, or a lot of my clients have also wrapped up their divorce process and need help with that post. Okay, what's next? I help a lot of women
Yeah.
with navigating the dating scene again, knowing how to set boundaries as they push forward there. Co-parenting is a really big hot
Mhm.
topic these days as well. And knowing how to survive all the different phases because there is so much power in the pivot. And everybody deserves
Yeah.
to, live a life that they're proud of.
I was gonna ask, like, who are your ideal clients? Like, who typically comes to work with you? So that was very helpful in answering that because, I think sometimes people get so wrapped up in healing after divorce, right? Like all capital letters, and they're like, I don't even know where to begin. So, working with Taylor is a great place to get started. And of course, you can find her on Fresh Starts and all of her info and get in touch with her with one click button. Taylor, before we let you go, if somebody's listening to this going through a divorce or considering divorce, which they probably are because it's called Divorce Happens, what would be some words of encouragement that you could leave them with?
It gets better. I know that feels impossible when everything is so heavy, but temporary pain is worth it for permanent peace. And there truly is more on the other side, even if in the moment it's the messy middle.
I love that so much. Taylor, thank you. We're going to have you back on for sure to talk about some other stuff. Thank you for being here and taking the time. And you can reach out to Taylor over at Fresh Starts or in the show notes will be her link. Thanks so much, Taylor. Divorce Happens is produced by Fresh Starts Registry, the only divorce registry platform for everything you need to begin again, including home items, hype team, and everything in between. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh. We're here to support you before, during, and after divorce. Head to freshstartsregistry.com for more info.